Welcome to the Fight Game. He's Icewater, I'm Puma, and we're going to start out talking about the exhibition. We really can't call it fighting or boxing, but Ice has some words for it. I have no words for it, no positive words for what Ice is about to say, so I'm going to give my time to him because we feel the same way. But go ahead, man.
Yeah, some of y'all may not like what I'm about to say, and that's okay. I still got love for y'all. Hope y'all keep watching. Hope more of y'all watch, but it is what it is. But the spectacle, the facade of Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, I'm here to tell y'all, and I love boxing. You see behind me, not bragging or nothing. I've been to the fights. I know what it's like. I've covered fights. I know what that's like. That spectacle was not boxing. And for people in the media and other people, especially the media, to continue to reference that as boxing, it just gives a bad taste to when it puts a bad taste in your mouth, and it also gives it a sore eye. Now, I mean, granted, they brought a lot of eyes to whatever what they've been doing to bring into the likes. So Amanda Serrano can get some love, and Katie Taylor gets a lot of the eyes on her. Great, boxers should pick that up and find out how they promote it. But to sit up here and act as if this dude is legitimate as a professional boxer, I mean, you can have your followers. You like who you like. I ain't mad at that. But to continue to say or act like this is real boxing, hell no. Nah. One, you won't fight no damn body. That is legit. That's a real boxer that could really get in there with you if you feeling froggy leap. So I'm sorry. If they bring it up again, he's a masterful marketer because he pulled it off, got Netflix to buy in, and with Mike Tyson, Mike got his money. People are saying all money ain't good money. I feel you on that, but the man 58 years old, he got $20 million for 16 minutes of in the ring. I ain't mad at that. That's how the game is run in America. Get your money. But sit up here and act as if that was legitimate or there was even a chance of hell of that being a boxing match. It's not. It's entertainment. It's like wrestling, big time wrestling, WWE, you all of that. And y'all might be mad at me for saying it. I do not care. I'm just because it gives boxing a bad name. But on the flip side, my last point on this is boxing, if nothing else, it shows you that people want to still see boxing. They want to be excited about boxing. So promoters, coaches, fighters, whoever else is connected to the game, stop BSing and give the fans the damn fights they want to see. The boxing is still in the game. You can say, oh, boxing's dying. No, the hell it's not. I can name 10 damn fights people want to see, and they will break the bank on it. If you can have a dude fighting a 58-year-old man, not even fighting or dancing with a 50-year-old man, and break the damn live gate for live entertainment in Texas, when the next second largest gate was Canelo Alvarez at the same stadium, you mean to tell me we can't get two fights that make sense that people want to see? Shakur Stevenson, Tank Davis, I can go on and on and on. Boxing, get your shit together.
Yeah, I agree totally. And Netflix, you got to do better. You got to do better. I'm not going to watch the rebroadcast. I couldn't watch it during the fight. I wasn't going to watch it, but you made it clear that you didn't want me to see it. Maybe you should watch the show. Netflix, do better. Do better. You can't
The
handle
real
it.
damn microphones too.
Yeah,
How you gonna have a broadcast and have the guests on your thing can't even
yeah,
hear
yeah,
one another?
yeah.
Oh my God.
You got the meat watcher and Michael Irvin sitting there talking about stop. I knew it was Dallas Stadium. It was going to be a problem, but stop. Listen, Netflix, you just put too much dip on your chip. You couldn't handle it. Don't do that no more. Don't do that no more. Most of the folks, they're saying 60 million. No. They ain't no 60 million. Y'all are buffering all night. So I went and watched something else. I couldn't even watch a movie on Netflix. I
Bro,
went to
bro.
another streaming source.
Let me say one last thing. If they click on and they get a hit with 2 seconds, that's a hit. Okay? So that does count towards, so 60 million people were trying to get in.
Boo! You know what I'm about to say.
You got to say something because look, Mike Tyson got 20 million. Jake Paul said he's about to get 40. So he doing something right. Y'all might want to talk to him as far as how you promote it and do something. But other than that, man, that shit is not boxing.
I'm thinking
Floyd
about
Mayweather said it best. I'm an entertainer now. I'm not a boxer.
I'm thinking about giving up my Netflix subscription over that. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous because yeah, I've seen some problems with Netflix with movies, and you know you're trying to scan through and you can't get through. You got to turn it off, turn it back on. Okay, this is you know what? This is probably the last straw. I'm gonna think about it, and then once I get that last bill, like you know what? Let me get rid of this.
Can I say one last thing? I promise. I said this about 9 times.
Yeah.
The dang old NFL fans are cringing right now. Like, oh my God. Y'all gonna be showing football games on Netflix? Y'all can't handle that bullshit.
No,
What
you
you gonna
can't
do
even
when we
handle
come
that.
out of it?
No, you can't even handle that. So I don't know what the IT guys are up to, what their plans are. Don't care. I'll find another streaming device to watch football because if it's anything like what happened when somebody getting ready to throw a pass and late in the game and then it bumpers up, nah. You put too much dip on your chip. Just stick to movies and shows. That's all. Just stick to movies and shows. Stick to movies and shows. Anywho, we're gonna come back to boxing. We're gonna go to MMA. John Jones wins his fight and is setting up for Alex Pereira. And I'm telling you right now, I'm putting my money on Pereira. I want Pereira to stop a mud hole in John Jones. That's how I feel. And you know why I want him to stop a mud hole in John Jones for those antics at the end of the fight. You know, I had nothing against him until I saw him this time. So it's personal with me. It's personal. Alex Pereira, please, the Brazilian king, come and get that ass. Your thoughts on the fight, man? Oh, and then one thing. Great, beautiful spinning kick to the spleen. Beautiful. Never saw it executed like that. Beautiful. And I always tell people that I train in martial arts, that's a knockout point, and that was a perfect example of it. If you want to see a great kick to the spleen to knock an opponent out, there you have it.
You know, the funny thing about John Jones is I think because some people know how great he could be, if he would, minus like Daniel Cormier said, minus the foolishness sometimes he does. If he's just really focused, I still think he's the greatest of all time, from what I've seen, from when I've been watching the sport. And he was just masterful. I mean, this is the guy that obliterated Daniel Cormier, just destroyed him.
I think they both did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just the way that he comes in and Jones is just so masterful when he's on point. Doesn't matter the weight. It's like, okay, you come in here, I got something for you. I appreciate that because we're seeing greatness. And sometimes when greatness is happening, you forget about that it's really in front of you. You got to appreciate what it is because you know how much longer he's going to be around. As far as the other personal stuff, I mean, people do what they do. They like what they like. And I mean, it is what it is. Certain things you can't change. I'm appreciating what's in the ring. That other stuff on the outside, I mean, one thing about him, I will say, he's true to whatever he is true to. There's a lot of people out there hiding, doing the same damn thing for the same cause. But you let them know that you can tell by their personality, they perpetrating fraud. He is, if that's what you rolling with, roll with it. Remember, I told you before, that was the issue we found out about Jim Brown. We found out who Jim Brown was, and people started hating him. The man said, I am who I am.
All right. Now, my new favorite fighter is Charles Oliveira, who, after his fight, did the thing I would have done. But I thought he was done in his last MMA fight because he really didn't look good. But it showed me that, hey, went back to the gym, went back to the lab, got his stuff together, and pulled off a masterful fight where I thought he was going to retire because he didn't look good in his last fight. And I was rooting for him the last fight, but he made a great comeback in this fight and really show why he's a great fighter that he is.
Yeah, he did, and you say kudos to him. You take your hat off to him being able to come back in such a way. But the question is, how much more? What do
Mm-hmm.
you have anything left?
Yeah.
Most fighters have one or two good fights left, and because they're getting older, a la Manny Pacquiao in boxing, you have that moment where you stun Keith Thurman. It's like, oh my God, what happened? But can you keep that going? So if he wants to keep going, he has the ability to or the opportunity to say whatever he wants to do. But I think in regards to his health and make sure that's the best thing for him, I hope that he decides to use that in his decision as far as regards to whether or not he continues his career.
Yeah, let's go back to boxing. And there were two fights on the undercard of the spectacle that we talked about earlier. We had, I think, Barrios and Ramos. Now, my boy Eddie went to Wilberforce with us. He loves fighting. He watched the show. Shouts out to my boy from Detroit. He called me up and like, man, you gotta watch. I know you ain't watching this, but you gotta watch these two guys bang. And here comes Netflix, who buffers all the time. I couldn't watch that fight, so now I got to go back and watch it on another stream because I don't trust Netflix no more. But it seems like that came out to be a draw, and I'm gonna go back and watch that fight. And I hope they fight really soon because these guys, it seemed like from the news and seeing like everybody who was contacting me was like, this was a fight. And then you had the Serrano Taylor fight where folks are saying Serrano got robbed again. And how are the judges kind of watching these fights and what are they scoring on?
Yeah, tough one. Start with the Barrios Ramos fight. I mean, clearly, I think Barrios came in as the guy, right, with the titles and whatnot. And most people probably thought it was gonna just be a clean sweep and go right in there and handle business. But he got caught. And it's one of those things where you say Barrios supposed to be the better fighter because he has the belts and whatnot. But Ramos was a tough customer. He came in, gave all he had, and the fact that they fought to a draw, you can see even after the fight when they announced that it was a draw, Ramos was like, you know what, man, that was a hell of an effort by me. Nobody thought I was gonna win except for me in my corner, and that says a lot about him. I don't know what else is he gonna do as far as in the future, but for that night he was a star, and he earned a lot of respect from a lot of people. Great competition between both guys, particularly on the part of Ramos. And what are you gonna say, Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor part two? The only thing about the decision is just crazy because you think you see a fight a certain kind of way, right? Now you see the punches that Serrano was throwing. Seemed like Taylor was punches were a little bit more damaging at times, right? But then Serrano was, when you look at the numbers, Serrano was landing more punches. So what people do is they say, "Oh, she seemed like she won, she got robbed," but you only say she got robbed. Most people until after when they get the numbers when they get to numbers. But it was a hell of a fight. The one thing that was tough, I think, and I'll say this about watching the fight, I think it could have went either way. But the one thing that was different in the second fight, in this fight, was the fact that when Serrano was coming forward, Katie Taylor was catching her midway through. And that's something she didn't do in the first fight until later on. But she was in trouble, and Serrano was giving all she had. One hell of a fighter, but Katie Taylor was catching her in between. So it was a lot of punches going here and there, and I think that was confusing a lot for the judges. Also, too, the headbutt that Katie Taylor had, and it literally split the eye, like right above the eyelid, and it was just a crazy cut. And I'll say this, and granted, it's on the fighter and it's also on the corner. But when Amanda Serrano's corner said, "That's nasty. We need to stop it," said that in the corner, and I agree. Should have went to the cards because it was just there's no way to close it. It was like just wide open, and because it was a headbutt, I would rather go to the cards. You end up losing anyway. At least you get a little bit more grace because and then in the end they talk about she was headbutting on purpose. They retract that statement. Serrano did, but they mentioned before her team that Serrano had been headbutt before, had been fight all these different fights, but never got cut until she fought Taylor. So with all that being said, if I'm that corner, I might have considered to say, hey, yo, we need to just go to the cards because we don't want you to continue because it's too dangerous. But true to being the fighter that she is, Amanda Serrano said, "To hell with that. I'm going back out there and fight." But I think she really was fighting a little bit too much out of desperation. And the one thing they did not, I don't think they understood or countered, she was a little wild at times. And Katie Taylor was fighting back, man. And not only was she fighting back, she was landing. And it was just a hell of an effort on Serrano's part, but she just couldn't get in the round. And I think no matter even she never said anything, that headbutt, that cut on the eye really played a part in what she's able to do later on in the fight.
Okay. Now, you talked to me in our pre-show meeting about some fights that are probably not set in stone yet, but they're they're looking to come up with some great matchups. I also saw a fight that our boy Tank Davis versus Shakur, and next year is where they're talking about fighting. It's not solidified. They're just throwing it out that late in the year, this is the fight. They both should be ready to fight. So you came up with some fights. I'm gonna let you take over from now on about those fights that you've heard about.
Yeah. One of the fights you talked about, I think, is David Benavidez versus I think it's Morrell.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's supposed to be early 2025. David Benavidez has been looking for a real fight, trying to prove his worth. And Morel's a tough customer as well in regards to, Benavidez has been chasing Canelo for a long time, but he's also been looking for somebody out of almost like desperation to show, hey, I'm worthy. Look at me, look at me. And he's been willing to move up to 175, but Morel is a tough customer, and that's gonna be a hell of a fight. So maybe he wins that fight and comes through, but it's not gonna be an easy walk in the park. I think that's gonna be a great fight and another way for Benavidez to try to step up and show what he's capable of.
I think that's an excellent stepping stone fight. If he takes it seriously and if he's devastating and dominant in that fight, I mean, how can you deny it at that particular point?
Yeah. Another fight they've been talking about is now, which is really bizarre because it's all over the place, is Terrence Crawford perhaps fighting Virgil Ortiz. And that, yeah, I mean, it's about that time. So Terrence it's been a while since, I mean, last time Terrence fought, he didn't look so great because he moved up to 154. Virgil Ortiz is looking for an opportunity. Didn't look always great in this last fight, but I mean, he did in his last fight, but the fight before that, he didn't look great. But this is the opportunity that it's also an opportunity. I'm sure Boots Ennis wish he had, but he's not going to get. So I don't see Virgil Ortiz running from it, particularly if they fight at a larger weight. They fight at, let's say they meet at 154. I think it's a great fight. Terence Crawford is trying to wait out perhaps the opportunity to fight Canelo, but while he's waiting, he's getting older. And it's just what it is. So I'm not sure how long he's going to be around. So I think that'd be a great fight for the two of them to match up.
All right. And you gave me another one.
Yeah, the other one is Teofimo Lopez is supposed to be in negotiations to fight Devin Haney.
I like that one.
Yeah, on this level, because of what happened with Ryan Garcia, I think Devin Haney, even though he's got the money, went to court, and supposed to win these cases, whatever, he still needs to have a legitimate fight, a challenge that people are going to respect, right? Because you can say whatever Ryan Garcia was on or whatever, he still beat him down in the ring. And the main part that people have a problem with is the fact that uh, Ryan Garcia showed you what was going on. Not like he tested positive at the time or whatever, but Devin Haney accepted the challenge. He knew what he was risking. He knew that he was up in weight. He knew some other things were going on. But they thought they were going to win the fight, so they took the fight, and it backfired. So with all that being said, and all of the madness going on in and outside the ring, I think Devin Haney needs a real legitimate test if he still wants to get back to that level of respect that he's looking for, that his dad talked about him being the guy or whatnot. Teofimo Lopez brings that to the point to him because styles make fights. They're both masterful boxers. They got a little pop, and they both want to rise up and show they're the guy.
Yeah.
I think it's an excellent fight for both of these guys. And hey, you've been talking about it for the longest time. It's time to, as we said before, put it on the line and let's get in the ring.
And I also think that Devin Haney needs another voice in that corner when adversity hits to help him get out of that adversity and come up on top. Because I didn't get that sense that his father really kind of gave him the advice he needed in that Garcia fight, and that cost him. That cost him dearly. Even though the drugs, all that stuff, I get all that, but his father had no answers in that ring and kind of left his son out there just butt naked in the ring and to take that beat down. So
Well,
that's
that's
food for
what
thought.
was very similar to that. And that's his dad, so that's they've been together forever, and I get that. But it's very similar to the fight versus Lomachenko
Yes.
when he got in trouble. There was no answers. And granted, that's your dad. You ride and die with him if that's what it is. Cool. But when you sit on that stool and you taking that those punches and you don't have an answer, and the person that's supposed to be supporting you doesn't have an answer either,
Yeah.
it makes you
That's a
think
problem.
twice about some things.
That's a problem.
That's a very serious problem. So we'll see. The other last one I guess you talk about, you mentioned earlier was Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson. Um, yeah, it's that'd be a hell of a fight. And I think the fact that I think was it that Tank Davis, not Tank, but Shakur signed with Matchroom
Hmm.
because they want him to put him in position to fight the big fights. And I know Eddie Hearn is really about that business. He's like not trying to force him, but he's gonna push Shakur Stevenson to be great. And Tank Davis is Tank Davis, but you got the other Mr. Davis over there talking a lot too. But that that is a fight. Tank Davis versus Shakur Stevenson, a fight that will move the needle. People will watch it. They will come out. It is a spectacle. They said before they didn't think that they wanted to fight right away, but the time is now. The money's there. People want to see it. Two young superstars ready to go, both undefeated and very familiar with one another. It is a showcase fight.
Yeah.
I hope it happens next year. Fans deserve it. This is monumental to me. Some people may not feel this way, but it's on the edge of the first Leonard versus Tommy Hearns.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah.
Right on the edge. The first one. Both guys, different styles, undefeated. Both have shown who they are. It's a great opportunity, and it will be a box office hit because it's what people want to see.
Yeah, and I remember that fight back in the day. It was must see. You had
Yeah,
to see that fight. You weren't
yeah,
going to miss it. I don't care where you were, what shift you had to work,
yeah.
you had to see that fight. So I agree with you on that. He's Icewater, I'm Puma, and this is the fight game.